All right, well, I'm, sometimes these talks can be kind of Linux centric. I was more interested in getting more of an industry-wide feeling about how we might go about deprecating NFS v4.0 because it's inferior in many ways to 4.1, and 4.1 is pretty widely deployed now. So this is kind of an open exchange of ideas about, you know, whether it's a good idea, and if so, how would we go about doing it? Some implementations don't really care. I know Hammerspace doesn't support 4.0, they don't care. For example, AWS has the EFS file system that's 4.1 only. They don't care. Azure Files is 4.1 only, I believe. So they're certainly welcome to participate in the conversation, but I don't think they have a lot of skin in the game. Then there are other folks like Solaris, who had 4.0 only for a long time. I think they have 4.1 now. So should we start the conversation with what do people feel like customer reaction will be if we say if we default 4.0 to off for, say, the NFS Linux NFS server, or default NFS 4.0 to off for the client? Not make any code changes per se, but simply just disable it by default on new installations.
I like that idea. I think we should do that probably in the near term.
Definitely first off.
So
Yeah.
probably we're talking about Fedora 44. What are the next?
Next, I would say 45.
Okay.
To disable 4.0.
Because I would think you'd want to go through a whole rawhide. You know,
We're just talking about turning it off by default. So someone could come in and turn it on. We just make it so that you don't get v4.0 unless you actively
Right.
take
The
a
only
step.
change that would be made would be to etc.nfs.conf. And it would be to change the default setting in there for NFS 4.0.
I think we probably want to change it in the kernel actually,
yeah,
and not do that in the comp. It's because we usually want them to comment it out, but we want to reflect the change in NFS comp, I guess.
but would you be able to turn it back on?
Sure, yes, that is, someone that needed it would be able to turn it back
Well,
on.
I'm not sure how you turn it off in the kernel, but enable customers to turn it back on when they need it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, and maybe actually in, we have to do this actually in NFS utils and SD cuddle and then,
Well,
RPC.
Well, those are all driven from.
yeah, NFS.conf will handle all.
They
that
are
for
driven
us.
by the conf file, but we probably want to change the defaults in there so that they are not, so because people may have settings already in their conf file. And we want to leave those.
And we don't override those.
We don't want to override those.
Right.
So, I think we have to do it.
Well,
Well,
I mean-
RPM, when you install it, it's not gonna overwrite the settings anyway.
Right, it's not gonna, yeah,
Right, it does not.
I think,
It's, well, yeah, but now all of a sudden you got like this other file that's out there and nobody's gonna merge. the changes
RPM safe,
back in.
it's called RPM safe.
I think what we want to do is, unless someone has explicitly turned it on, you know, to say default to it having to be turned off, you know. And if they need to, they can go and just.
How about the mount?
Are we discussing server side, client side, or both? Is there going to be,
Both, yeah.
are we going to
Yeah, we-
separate it for server side and client side, or is it for
They'll
both?
have to be different sets, yeah. I think we'll need.
well, there
different
are
sets.
different default there are different settings in NFS.conf, but are you asking if the schedule for deprecation should be different for the client and the server?
Yes, in general, if we should consider them as separate paths, right? You know, so turning it off, you know, or toggling it, yeah, turning it off on the server, and then also turning it off on the client.
Well, I think the client should go first.
Well, I was thinking just the opposite. Because turn it off in the server, the client can't get to it. It will just, you know, dial
So
back
then
down.
what's the point of having separate deprecation schedules?
I just say we need
There's just, there's separate code bases. There's
Yes,
no
yeah.
synchronized.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, if they happen to end up synchronized, that's okay. But
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna
either have
happen.
one wait for the other.
Yeah.
You know, So,
So
But if we turn it off on the server, you're essentially
that's
turning it off.
true, but the server has to answer to a broad deployment of clients, including non-Linux ones. So that's why I think the client should go first.
Well, how's that gonna solve that problem of having multiple, server having all those multiple clients?
The server will continue to serve 4.0 for a while, and the client will stop soon.
Yeah, but the client needs to support multiple server implementations, right? And server implementations that are not present here, right? So kind of same argument.
Oh.
a big question is, I guess, is who in the field would have 4.0 only servers or clients, right? I guess you said Solaris, right? It's a big one, I guess.
Solaris, the older implementation is 4.0 only.
Okay. And Apple, I think, has, their
Well,
OS X is also 4.0 only in the older implementations, right?
you can mount with 4.1, but we're not sure how production ready that is.
Right, and then so they do have some, and then some of their older kernels, I think, only support 4.0. So those are probably where we're going to see people, get problems.
Legacies, yeah, that's always been that way.
Yeah. So I think most Linux to Linux stuff is going to care because we've been teaching for years.
Yeah,
We've
4.1,
talked to it.
4.2, what?
Yeah. You might have someone that explicitly did 4.0, but they probably just got that mistake anyway. Right? So, I mean, to me, in my opinion, I think we just turned it off by default. And then, because we have an easy path to tell someone how to fix it in the case, you just turned it off.
Turn off from where by default, client and server, or just
I'd say both. Yeah, I would do
at the
both.
same time?
Yeah, sure, why not? Bother. And then, because there's very few people that are gonna need this, I guess.
I mean, look, any kind of, any kind of message saying that we, 4.1 is no longer supported.
4.0.
Or, I'm sorry.
Uh,
I bet.
I mean, have a message where, like.
I don't know, I'm just thinking,
Oh.
thinking out loud. I mean, do we need to advertise the fact that we're not serving?
In whatever process you
Probably in release notes.
Release
re-enable
notes.
it would be nice if in that process there was a notice 4.0 could eat your data, eat your baby. Yeah. This is why I think there's a lot of customers out there who are afraid of 4.1 and 4.2 because they're like, oh, that's bleeding edge. I'm going to stay on the stable, well-tried 4.0, not realizing that it's like a whole different protocol
Yeah,
that's inferior.
I mean, I think turning it off too will give us some data points about this as well. Unfortunately, it probably goes most teachers right now, right?
At the expense
The calls, but occasionally the support guys will probably get some calls about this. Oh, yeah, this new rel you have to turn it off. And we'll probably see some complaints in the Fedora forums, maybe.
I don't think they even probably know, once it just works.
Most people are not going to notice.
But yeah, it just
You know,
works.
It's really just comes down to, yeah.
Because they've been using.
Well, like I said, I mean, there's a few people like OS X and Solaris, I think, it's where you may have some people that are still using.
Won't it go back down to 3 then?
No, I would just say they can just.
And right today, I mean, if 4.0 is not supported,
It'll go from 4.1 to 3.
Yeah,
yeah, or 1 to 3 or 4.0 to 3.
Yeah.
Don't just, yeah.
yeah, unless they explicitly said first.
Right, of course, right.
But yeah, I mean, that seems fine. In my opinion.
Frank, what do you think the Ganesha community's reaction will be to this idea?
You're on mute.
Sorry. We encourage 4.1 in some of the products that use Ganesha, go out with only 4.1 enabled. But we keep hitting somebody wants to use a client that's a 4.0 only capable, and and then we have to turn on 4.0.
Oh, so you guys are already default to it all.
We don't. some of our products, some of the products that use Ganesha default to it. The Ganesha code base doesn't default to it.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Who are these clients that do only 4.0?
My understanding is the Apple client and the Windows client is the Windows.
No, the 4.1.
They finally have a 4.1 client.
That's where they started, 4.1.
Oh, they do have a
They don't have a 4.0 at all.
Yeah, they don't have 4.0.
Okay, so it's really, yeah. So I guess it's really only OS X clients,
All right.
and yeah, unless there's some other weird 4.0 only clients out there. But yeah, so I think it's just the OS X clients.
Okay.
And then there's another little minor niggle is that we always have to enable 4.0 to run the PineFS 4.0 tests, which there's a lot of functionality that's tested there that is not replicated in the 4.1 tests.
Very good point.
So it would be really cool if
Wording all that would not be fun.
it's a shame that PineFS 4.0 and 4.1 sort of fundamentally do some of the low-level stuff differently. So you can't just change the 4.0 test cases into 4.1 test cases. But
yeah, but you can't rely on 4.0 test cases being replicated in 4.1 either.
No,
So
but there's a lot of 4.0 tests and not so many 4.1 tests.
Yeah,
There's a
what I'm
functionality
saying
that
is
gets
you
tested.
can't rely on 4.0 tests to test 4.1.
No, but well, not really, no. But I mean, but we do use it to test some of the functionality in the server that is the same on 4.1.
Like
Yeah, it's
compound-
ugly. I agree. I would love to see us all move everything on there to 4.1.
Like
That's
compound
probably something.
RPCs,
Sorry?
like compound RPCs.
Yeah. Some compound RPCs. Yeah.
Coming back to Ganesha server, I recall so our GPFS instance originally was only 4.0. This is what IBM was pushing. And so now it's 4.1, I think the newer versions, but maybe they're around all the GPFS installations that still forced to run 4.0, which was supported by IBM at the time. This is one thing. And another, there's a lot of home appliances that have some versions of Linux built in with their own mix, which might support only 4.0. Yeah, some, I don't know, Synology or QNS or whatever they are.
I think we can build this.
They'll support 4.3. They'll support v3.
Yeah, yeah. They can fall back to
V3 is right, still there, right? Yeah.
If you want stuff with crappy replay semantics, might as well just use v3.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be my opinion, that we just go ahead and disable these by default in the upcoming release. I don't know, I guess we have to do it in NFS utils from the server side, right? So we'll have to figure out a way to announce that properly.
And I would bump up the second number, right? That's, yeah, you know.
Oh, yeah, the version.
This is changing a lot.
Yeah, that's a big change, so.
Yeah, it's a big change, so we bump that up.
Okay.
How about the client now? We stop allowing, how do we?
That'll have to be a kernel
How do we do it
Yeah.
with V2? How do we do it with V2? That was that.
I sent a
Big,
patch
big.
changing it to default.
Does the kernel?
We just turned it off in like cake and big. But see, here, we don't want to do that, I think. What we want to do here is disable it while leaving it and leaving it built in so that someone can turn it back on if they need it.
But they explicitly, so, okay, let's think about this amount.
So that would still
Two.
be mounted.
Yeah, it's still an amount.
For the client.
So the client, so if you let the client,
Let's say, it's something else.
It doesn't do it in the mount command. I think it's in it's in the kernel, right?
no, that's in the mount.
No,
command.
it's-
Auto negotiation
Yeah,
logic in the client code. I mean, in
Neil,
NFS
Neil
utils.
Brown did all
Oh,
that.
you may be right. That's been a while.
Maybe.
So you would skip, so you would skip 4.0 if you're auto negotiating, but if somebody explicitly requests 4.0.
Yeah, that's what.
We would allow that.
Yeah, it would, that needs to.
Well, we don't, yeah, that's what he's just said.
I mean, that's the only thing we want to change. We want to just make it so that if you want 4.0, you have to explicitly enable it or request it. I think that's a reasonable place to start for trying to deprecate.
The way you do that is in executables.
Right.
The auto negotiation has always, well, not always, but
I think you just have to take a number out of the.
that has traditionally been done there. So
Right.
Well, it's good. So that means we have to fix NFS utility for both of them. We can just do a single.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's all it is taking a number out of an array.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah, it should be.
Right. Correct. All right, well, actors are welcome.
Okay.
Shouldn't have said that. Batman. So when, yeah, now, we're pretty early in the 44.
Yeah, I mean, they like
We're
44 is not
pretty
even out yet.
early.
So I think for 44, we.
Cause I just thought, because it won't,
Well, there is another big change in 44 that
Big.
might cause grief.
yeah,
What's that?
We chopped up NFS utils into even smaller, more smaller packages.
Okay, good.
Because right now in Fedora and RHEL, the way the packages are set up, it causes RPM conflicts.
right,
Which, so certain things like the clustering software might want to install mount.nfs. And there's like 3 different packages that'll provide mount.nfs. So RPM, so if you just like install, I think like a resource agents package or something, and you don't have NFS utils installed, it'll install all 3 of those other packages.
Yeah.
And then when you go to remove something or upgrade something, you run into.
yes, yeah, and I waited to put that in to the start of the rawhide process, so I get yelled at during rawhide, not when.
And the other thing is like, container people have been bothered by the fact that NFS utils pulls in Python 3 and all these other things.
Yeah.
So we kind of pulled those scripts into their own package as well.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we really needed to strip down client only package.
Right, exactly, that's what, and I guess since it is pretty early, probably might as well go.
Yeah.
Say. Should document it, don't you think? With the rug out of the school.
How fast do the other distros slurp up NFS utilities?
At least time.
Not very fast.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Debian. It takes them a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, we can try to nudge them along and say, right, you might want to take this change it sooner or something.
If then they're gonna have to take all those separated packages.
Well, they've had separate packages for a while, I think, right?
Yeah,
I think on
Yeah,
Debian, they
Debian
have it
is
somewhere.
different, like they're a little bit more,
Yeah, they've had a range
They've
of
got,
four
like-
grade package.
yeah. So they've got like a NFS common
Right.
and NFS kernel server package.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And then SUSE has like NFS client and NFS kernel server.
Yes, we're red.
But even within there, it's like what's in those, like that same names or similar names, but what's inside the packages varies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter, 'cause that's a distro packaging issue.
Sure, right, yeah.
What we're talking about is an upstream chance to,
Yeah,
so it's.
if we change mount.nfs, that's gonna affect regardless of the package.
Right,
Sorry.
then we can start the job of splitting out the v4.0 code from the v4.1 code. So we can split them into separate modules, then we can deprecate separate modules. And we can finally kill 4.0.
Does it have to be a separate module?
It's
So
gonna
he
be-
doesn't, can't take it off by default?
You have to pick it apart somehow. Otherwise, we can't split the code.
Figure you could turn it off and then rip it out.
Okay, I have nothing left.
And actually, that was saying that our key people, actually, especially because that's support out, so they'll be happy. They just take something off their estimate. Try to get no's. So it's gonna be easy sale, but it won't be until we're all 11.
Yes.
Good topic.
Yeah.
Very good topic.
So we're adopting a modified version of Tom Bose's MSST speech. He presented NFS must die. We're amending that to NFS v4.0 must die.
What was this now?
What? Yeah. Yeah, what's-
Why would he give a talk like that at NFS's 40th birthday party?
Yeah.
That's obnoxious.
Who's this?
Alliance. One of the early sons of NFS outlets.
What was it? Was Mr. Niss there? Who was that guy who wrote this?
I saw a blog or something.
Good time now, so he's done to do stuff he did.
So since we wound down, should I stop the recording?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, was it?